Portugal, a country on the western edge of Europe, is a land where history and nature meet in a remarkable display of ocean cliffs, quiet forests, and ancient villages. Throughout its history, Portugal has been a crossroads for civilizations like the Celts and Romans, each influencing the country's culture and language in unique ways. From ancient castles to thriving modern cities, from serene beaches to verdant mountains, there's something in this country for everyone. By preserving these unique places, we not only honor our past, but also ensure that future generations can explore and treasure these wonders just as we do today. In the western part of Portugal's Azores Islands, there's a magical place called Porto da Ribeira do Ferreiro. Here, waterfalls pour down towering cliffs into a serene pool below, where the water is so clear you can see straight through to the bottom. Perhaps the most fascinating fact about Porto da Ribeira do Ferreiro is that it is actually a tidefall, a waterfall that empties directly into the ocean. During high tide, the base of the falls is submerged beneath the waves, creating a truly surreal sight as the water seems to disappear into the sea. High atop a hill in the Sintra Mountains sits one of the most colourful and fascinating palaces in the world, the Pena Palace. Pena Palace wasn't always a palace. In the Middle Ages, it was a quiet monastery where monks lived and prayed. However, in 1755, a massive earthquake shook Portugal and heavily damaged the monastery. Years later, King Ferdinand II decided to transform the old ruins into a stunning palace for his family. One of the most enchanting parts of Pena Palace is its surrounding park. It's filled with over 500 types of trees from as far as Australia and North America, which King Ferdinand collected. The Azores, a group of 9 volcanic islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, have a story that began long before humans arrived. Millions of years ago, powerful eruptions from the seafloor gave birth to these rugged lands. Over time, wind, rain, and waves carved the islands into the stunning landscapes we see today. Today, we'll explore 3 breathtaking spots on these islands, which I found the most captivating to visit. For instance, the islet of Villa Franca do Campo is the exposed remnants of a long-gone volcanic crater that the sea and seismic activity have severely eroded over thousands of years. The islet's most striking feature is the circular crater, now filled with crystal clear seawater and connected to the ocean by a narrow channel called Boqueta. It has also gained international recognition as a regular stop on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series circuit, with divers showcasing their incredible skills. Caldera das Furnas, another intriguing spot in the Azores, is located in the town of Furnas on São Miguel Island. This area is famous for its hot springs and geysers, which are openings in the ground that release steam and hot water. People come to this place not just to see the steam, but to experience the local cooking method known as Cocido das Furnas. This means that the food is cooked underground using the heat from the hot springs. Another famous spot on São Miguel Island is Lagoa das Sete Cidades, or the Lagoon of the Seven Cities, which represents a massive crater lake formed by an ancient volcano over 25,000 years ago. While it may look like two separate lakes, Lagoa das Sete Cidades is actually one body of water with a fascinating color contrast. One side shimmers in emerald green, while the other gleams in sapphire blue. According to local legend, the two lakes were formed from the tears of a shepherd and a princess who were deeply in love, but tragically could never be together. As they wept, their tears, one set blue, the other green, filled the crater, giving birth to the lakes as we see them today. High on a hill in the small town of Monsanto stands the ancient Castle of Monsanto. People have lived in this area since the Stone Age, and the castle itself started its story in the 12th century when King Afonso I built it to protect the land from invaders. Perhaps the most incredible fact about the Castle of Monsanto is that people still live within its walls today. The small village of Monsanto, once protected by the fortress, continues on, its houses built between and even underneath the huge granite boulders. Walking the steep cobblestone paths, you can't help but feel like you've stepped back into another era. This beach is called Praia da Falésia, which means beach of cliffs in Portuguese, and is famous for its clean, soft sand. What makes Praia da Falésia truly special, however, are its cliffs. They're like a giant layer cake made of different colored rocks. In addition, pine trees grow on top of the cliffs, adding a touch of green to this colorful scene. Interestingly, this beach was named the #1 beach in the world for 2024 by the Travelers' Choice Awards. Mount Pico stands as the tallest mountain in Portugal, reaching high into the sky on the island of Pico. Over 230,000 years ago, volcanic eruptions first formed this mountainous island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The volcano continued to erupt and grow over thousands of years, with its most recent eruption occurring in 1720. The nutrient-rich volcanic soil on its slopes, along with the warm, dry climate, make ideal conditions for growing grapes. For centuries, islanders have built thousands of small stone plots called curays to cultivate vineyards, producing the famous Pico wine. Overlooking the city of Braga in northern Portugal is the sanctuary of Bom Jesus do Monte, or Good Jesus of the Mount. The centerpiece of Bom Jesus do Monte is its Baroque stairway, which leads up to the church. Constructed over a period of more than 600 years, this stairway is not just for walking. Each of its sections tells a part of the story of Jesus Christ's life. Perhaps the most amazing fact about Bom Jesus do Monte is that the entire complex was built without a master plan. The different staircases, fountains and chapels were added gradually by various artists and architects, and it was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2019. The Moorish castle of Gibraltar stands as a living piece of history, its stone walls telling a story that spans over 1,000 years. Built by the Moors in 711 AD, this fortress was a key stronghold during their conquest of the Iberian Peninsula. However, the castle is more than just a single tower. It is a complex of buildings, gates, and fortified walls that once protected the Moorish settlement below. One of the most surprising facts about the Moorish castle is that it wasn't meant to be a home. Unlike many castles with grand halls and royal chambers, this castle was built for watching and defending. Its location was perfect for spotting enemies coming from the sea or across the land. The Algarve coast in Portugal stretches along the southern edge of the country, facing the Atlantic Ocean. One of the most alluring facts about the Algarve coast involves the cliffs. These are not just ordinary cliffs, they're a part of a unique geological history. Over millions of years, the movements of the earth have shaped these cliffs into stunning formations. They display layers of different colors and types of rocks, telling a story of the Earth's past. As we explore the Algarve coast further, we encounter some truly remarkable spots. The name Ponta de Piedade translates to Point of Mercy in English. The name comes from a local legend about a statue of the Virgin Mary that was believed to protect sailors from the dangerous rocks below. Over thousands of years, the waves have carved out dramatic shapes in the cliffs, creating caves, grottos, and arches that look like they come from a fairy tale. The Algar de Beniguel was formed over millions of years by the relentless pounding of the Atlantic Ocean against the limestone cliffs. What makes this cave truly unique is the large circular opening in its ceiling, often called the Eye, which allows sunlight to flood the interior, creating an almost otherworldly atmosphere. The cave is quite spacious, and when the tide is low, visitors can stand on the small beach inside and admire the cathedral-like dome with its spiral walls that rise up to the eye-catching skylight. Praia dos Estudantes, or Students' Beach, is a small but fascinating beach in the heart of Lagos. The most striking landmark of Praia dos Estudantes is the Roman-style stone arch that connects two rock formations rising out of the sea. However, despite its ancient appearance, the arch is not actually from Roman times. In reality, it was once part of a Portuguese fortress called Forte Pinhão that crumbled into the sea during the Great Lisbon Earthquake of 1755. Guiana Tea Plantation is a remarkable place with a fascinating history. Located on the beautiful island of São Miguel in the Azores, this place has been producing tea since way back in 1883. What makes Guyana's tea so special is the fact that it is 100% organic and grown without any pesticides, herbicides, or chemical fertilizers. The Azores' humid, rainy climate and volcanic soil provide the ideal conditions for the tea plants to thrive naturally. Cabo de São Vicente, located in the very southwest corner of Portugal, this cape has been considered sacred ground since ancient times. The Greeks called it the Land of Serpents, while the Romans knew it as the Holy Promontory. For centuries, people believed this windswept point was the end of the world, where the sun dramatically sank into the vast ocean each night. However, Cabo de São Vicente is known for its lighthouse, one of the most powerful in Europe. The lighthouse guides ships navigating near the cape, and it's vital for ensuring their safe passage along this difficult part of the coast. over 1,000 years ago, high on a hill in northern Portugal, a mighty castle was built. This castle, known as the Castle of Guimarães, would play a key role in the birth of a new nation. It is said to be the birthplace of the first king of Portugal, Afonso Henriques, who was born around 1109. Nazaré Canyon. This canyon isn't just another part of the sea, it's one of the deepest underwater canyons in Europe, reaching depths that are hard to imagine. But what makes the Nazaré Canyon truly extraordinary is its ability to generate some of the biggest waves on the planet. The result is a spectacle that defies belief. Waves towering up to 25 meters or more crash against the cliffs of Nazaré's Praia del Norte beach, creating an awe-inspiring display of nature's raw power. These behemoths have attracted big wave surfers from around the globe, eager to test their skills and courage against the canyon's might. The Batalha Monastery represents a story of battle, faith, and artistry. This monastery isn't just another church, it is a masterpiece of Gothic-style architecture, which was very popular in Europe during the Middle Ages. Built in 1386, it would take nearly 2 centuries to complete, with generation after generation of skilled craftsmen pouring their hearts and souls into every intricate detail. The result is a masterpiece of Gothic and Manueline architecture that still stands today, a testament to the unwavering faith and determination of the Portuguese people. Madeira. The story of this group of islands began over 5 million years ago, when volcanic eruptions formed this piece of paradise. However, humans didn't discover these islands until much later, in 1419. It's part of Portugal, but is closer to Africa than it is to the European mainland. At the easternmost tip of Madeira lies a place of stark beauty and contrast, Ponta de São Lourenço. This long volcanic peninsula juts out into the Atlantic Ocean, revealing a landscape that looks more like the surface of Mars than the lush green island it's attached to. But perhaps the most fascinating thing about Ponta de São Lourenço is its geology. The entire peninsula is made of volcanic rock that dates back about 100,000 years. Pico do Arieiro is one of the highest peaks in Madeira. In actuality, Pico do Arieiro is an ancient volcano. The mountain is made up of lava and ash from eruptions that happened many thousands of years ago. A surprising thing about Pico do Arredo is that it's connected to another peak by a path. This path leads to Pico Revo, the highest peak on Madeira. Hikers love this trail because it feels like walking on the ridge of the island with deep valleys on both sides. Porto Moniz is a small town on the northwest tip of Madeira Island. The first settlers arrived in Porto Moniz in the late 15th century, not long after the Portuguese began colonizing Madeira. While Porto Moniz has an intriguing past, the town is best known today for its incredible volcanic pools. These natural swimming pools were formed by lava flows that cooled and hardened when they reached the Atlantic Ocean. Crystal clear seawater now fills the black basalt pools, creating an amazing spot for visitors to swim and relax. Ribeira da Janela is a small parish located on the rugged north coast of Madeira. What makes Ribeira da Janela truly special are the dramatic volcanic sea cliffs and rock formations just offshore. The largest sea stack features a remarkable tunnel-like hole near its top, giving it the appearance of a window. In fact, this is how Ribeira da Janela got its name, which means Window Creek in Portuguese. Not far from these rock formations, we can discover Miradoro do Vale da Nueva. This place is famous for its spectacular waterfall, which tumbles down the cliffs directly into the ocean. The name Vale da Nueva means bride's veil in Portuguese, and when you see the waterfall, you understand why. It looks like a delicate veil made of water flowing gently over the rocks. This waterfall is unique because unlike others that fall into lakes or rivers, this one meets the sea. Hidden away in the picturesque town of Sintra lies a place that seems to have sprung from the pages of a fairy tale. This is Quinta da Regaleira, an estate filled with wonder, mystery, and a touch of magic. At the heart of the estate stands the Regaleira Palace. Its facade is adorned with intricate carvings, gargoyles, and symbols that hint at the mysteries within. But perhaps the most intriguing feature of this place is its initiation well. Despite its name, the structure was never used to draw water. Instead, It served as a symbolic gateway for secret rituals. As someone descends, they'll notice symbols carved into the walls, hinting at the well's true purpose. In the Alentejo region stands a remarkable feat of early modern engineering, the Amoreira Aqueduct. This massive stone structure was built in the 16th century with the purpose of bringing fresh water to the fortified city of Elvas. This aqueduct remained in use for over 300 years. It was not until the late 19th century that the city began to transition away from this ancient water delivery system. High above the town of Elvas in Portugal, a mighty fortress watches over the land. This is the Fort de Nossa Senhora da Graça. Its purpose was straightforward yet vital: to protect the nearby town of Elvas and ensure that Portugal's borders were safe from Spanish attacks. The design of the fort is unique, with its star-shaped layout that sprawls across a hilltop. This shape wasn't just chosen for its looks. It helped soldiers see enemies coming from any direction and made the fort almost impossible to capture. The tunnels below this fort are what make it so fascinating. These tunnels were not just escape routes, but also strategic points to store supplies and move soldiers safely during sieges. Just a short journey away lies another remarkable site, the sanctuary of Nossa Senhora da Graça. The origins of the sanctuary can be traced back to the 18th century, when a small chapel was built on the mountaintop. Over time, the chapel was expanded and renovated, eventually becoming the striking white church that graces the summit today. At the top of Serra da Estrela, we find Torre, the highest point on mainland Portugal. Unlike most mountain peaks, you can drive all the way to the top on a paved road to reach Torre. In winter, it transforms into Portugal's premier destination for snow lovers. Skiers and snowboarders gather here, taking advantage of the only reliable snowfalls in the country. Covão dos Conchos is famous for its unique man-made lake, and especially for the mesmerizing spillway that seems to swallow the waters into the earth. Constructed in 1955, This spillway was designed to funnel water from the lake into a hydroelectric dam nearby. Over the years, moss and foliage have grown over the concrete structure, making it look like a natural part of the landscape. In the northwest corner of Portugal sits the city of Porto. The city's name, Porto, is where the country of Portugal got its name. One of the most surprising facts about the city is that it's believed to be the place where J.K. Rowling was inspired to write some parts of the Harry Potter series when she lived there in the early 1990s teaching English. Part of Porto's stunning architecture is the Chapel of Souls, famous for its blue and white tiles that cover the exterior. This chapel is not only a place of worship, but also a piece of art that captures the eye of anyone who passes by. But one of the most striking buildings in Porto is the Clerigos Tower. This tall bell tower, part of a larger church and hospital complex, lets visitors climb up for a view of the city. It's known as one of Porto's tallest buildings, making climbing it both a challenge and a reward. What makes Porto famous is its port wine. The sweet red wine starts its life in the vineyards of the Douro Valley, one of the oldest wine regions in the world. This wine isn't just any wine. The way it is made has earned Douro Valley a special place on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Many vineyards are still owned by the families who started them hundreds of years ago, and they use age-old methods to create their wines. This dedication shows that the people here hold tight to their traditions. The Douro River, which carves through the valley, plays a vital role in the area's climate and agriculture. The unique climate and soil conditions along the riverbanks create an ideal environment for growing the grapes used in these wines. Marval Castle has seen many centuries come and go, creating the story of this remarkable fortress. The castle is strategically located on a granite crag at over 850 meters above sea level, offering views that stretch for miles. The strategic location made it an important point for defense and surveillance. The most intriguing aspect of Marval Castle is a legend that goes with its name. It is said that the castle was named after Ibn Marwan, a Muslim fugitive who sought refuge in the area and established a small, independent state. From its strategic military beginnings, the castle survives wars, weather, and the passage of time, reaching its current status as a cherished historical monument. Cabo da Roca is a remarkable place on the map of Portugal, that marks the most westerly point of the European continent. This spot gives anyone standing there the feeling of being at the very edge of the continent, looking out over the endless Atlantic Ocean. One of the most interesting features of Cabo de Roca is its lighthouse. Built in the 18th century, the lighthouse keeps guiding ships as they navigate the treacherous waters near the headland. People come here not just for the lighthouse and cliffs, but also to get a certificate that proves their presence at the westernmost point of Europe, a small piece of paper that marks their journey to the edge of the continent. Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, is a city with deep historical roots. One of the most dramatic events in Lisbon's history occurred in 1755, when a massive earthquake, followed by a tsunami and fires, almost completely destroyed the city. The most interesting fact about Lisbon is that it's older than Rome, about 4 centuries older, making it one of the oldest cities in Europe. Watching the city's life unfold from its high perch on a hill is Castelo de São Jorge. The castle's origins begin in the times of the Romans, who used the site because of its clear view over the land and sea, the perfect spot to keep an eye on approaching enemies. São Jorge Castle is a national symbol representing the historical and cultural evolution of Lisbon over the centuries. At the edge of the Tagus River, the Belém Tower, or Torre de Belém, was built to defend Lisbon. Originally, Belém Tower was built on a small island near the river shore. Over time, as the river's course shifted, this island merged with the mainland, making the tower accessible on foot. As the years passed, the tower's military importance decreased, and by the 19th century, the tower had been neglected and used for various purposes, including as a telegraph station and even as a lighthouse. Today, Belém Tower is one of the most visited monuments in Lisbon, drawing visitors with its historical significance and unique architectural style. Nearby, the Grand Jerónimos Monastery is a living part of Portuguese culture and history. Treasures brought from expeditions to Africa, Asia, and South America help fund the construction of the monastery, which stands where sailors used to pray before departing on dangerous journeys. Vasco da Gama, the explorer who first navigated the route to India, is buried here. The presence of his tomb in the monastery reminds visitors of the daring journeys that changed the course of history and connected continents. The aqueduct of the Aguas Libres also changed the course of history. It was not just built as a means of transporting water, it was a crucial development for improving the quality of life in Lisbon during the 18th century. The Aguas Libres aqueduct stretches for several kilometers and includes a series of arches that are both functional and visually striking. One compelling fact about the aqueduct is its dark role in the 19th century, when it was a scene of crimes by Diogo Alves. He robbed people crossing the aqueduct at night and threw them from its high arches to cover his deeds. The Convento do Carmo reflects both the glory and the challenges of the past. It served as a place of worship and a community hub for the monks who lived there. However, the fate of the Convento do Carmo changed dramatically in 1755 when the so powerful natural disaster that destroyed much of the city took the convent as well. While many buildings were rebuilt, the Convento do Carmo was left in its damaged state as a reminder of the devastation caused by the earthquake. The Cristo Rei statue looks out over Lisbon from the southern banks of the Tagus River. The idea for the statue was born when the Cardinal Patriarch of Lisbon visited the famous Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Inspired by his visit, he proposed the construction of a similar one in Portugal as a plea for peace during the hard times leading up to World War II. The Cristo Rei statue was built using donations collected from the Portuguese people themselves. This fact shows that the statue represents the importance of keeping hope alive during difficult times. The statue offers an amazing view of the Ponte 25 de Abril, which was the only bridge that spanned the Tagus near Lisbon. That was until the Vasco da Gama Bridge, a marvel of modern engineering, was built. The bridge was constructed to help reduce traffic congestion in Lisbon, being not only functional, but also visually striking. It stretches across the river with a sleek modern design that fits well with the surrounding landscape. The Vasco da Gama Bridge spans approximately 17.2 kilometers, making it the longest bridge in Europe over water at the time of its completion. The Monument to the Discoveries is a place where history is celebrated. This monument is designed to look like the prow of a ship pointing out to sea. Along the sides of the monument, stone statues of historical figures of importance to the age of discoveries, such as explorers, monarchs, cartographers, and missionaries, seem to be moving forward, with Prince Henry the Navigator himself leading the way. At its base, a large mosaic compass rose is embedded in the ground. This mosaic, a gift from South Africa, includes a map that highlights the various routes taken by Portuguese explorers during the 15th and 16th centuries. The fortress of Valença stands strong on the northern borders of Portugal, facing Spain. This fortification is one of the most formidable military structures in the region, equipped with massive walls and deep trenches to deter enemies Over time, the need for such fortifications decreased, especially with the establishment of a stable peace between Spain and Portugal. Today, the fortress of Valença is a peaceful place where visitors can wander through old military barracks, climb ancient walls, and enjoy views across the river to Spain. Cascata das Lombadas cascades down the rocky terrain, creating a serene and melodious soundscape that echoes through the valley. The waterfall is part of a network that provides some of the cleanest drinking water to the residents of São Miguel. In the historic city of Évora, Portugal, stands the Roman temple, often referred to as the Temple of Diana. This ancient structure is a remarkable relic of Roman architecture, built to honor Emperor Augustus, who was venerated as a god during and after his reign. Interestingly, despite being commonly called the Temple of Diana, there is no historical evidence linking it to the worship of the goddess Diana. This name was mistakenly attributed in the 17th century, and it has stuck ever since. Moving from the ancient Roman temple, we see the Cathedral of Évora. Known as Sé de Évora in Portuguese, the cathedral plays an important role in the religious life of the city. This holy place is home to a relic of enormous historical and religious significance, a fragment of the cross on which Jesus was crucified, according to Christian tradition. Set on a hilltop in eastern Portugal stands the Castelo de Vide, a medieval fortress that has watched over the town below for centuries. As the castle walls rose, so too did the town of Castelo de Vide. The castle not only provided protection, but also drew new settlers to the area. The town especially grew along the road leading up to the castle gates, with many buildings springing up outside the walls in the 14th century. This is the story of Casa do Penedo, also known as the Stone House or House of the Rock. What makes the stone house so unique is that it was constructed between four massive boulders that serve as the foundation, walls, and ceiling of the house. Although it may look prehistoric, Casa do Penedo was equipped with modern comforts like a fireplace, a concrete and wood sofa, and even a nearby swimming pool carved out of the rock. However, staying true to its rustic concept, the house was intentionally built without electricity, phone lines, or television. The story of the Alcobaça Monastery began in 1153, showcasing the earliest example of Gothic architecture in Portugal. At that time, the church was the largest in the country. At its peak, the monastery housed over 900 monks, making it one of the most significant and prosperous monasteries in Portugal. However, the monastery's era of influence ended in 1834, when the Portuguese government closed all monasteries. Despite this, Alcobaça's legacy endures. In 1989, UNESCO declared the monastery a World Heritage Site, securing its preservation for future generations. This is Portugal, a land full of natural wonders and incredible architectural marvels. Now, if you don't want to miss the most unbelievable man-made wonders on the planet, check out this video.